Hello, Kelly.
Hi,
Welcome.
Rebecca.
I'm so excited to have you
Me
here.
too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Day Job to Dream Job Summit. Today, I have the beautiful Kelly Atwood with me. In case you don't know her yet, I'm going to tell you a little bit about her right now. After spending years struggling in her own coaching business, Kelly realized it wasn't what she was doing, but who she was being that was holding her back. Through shifting how she was showing up in the world and taking full ownership of her desires for her business, her finances, and her place in the world, she was able to reinvent the wheel and step into true, purposeful success. It is now her mission to help other women entrepreneurs do the same. She coaches women entrepreneurs to step fully into what is possible for themselves, personally and professionally, so that they can have a life by design, make a huge difference in the world, and live in financial abundance doing so. She combines her roles as leader and visionary with a no bullshit approach to supporting her clients and stepping through into a higher level vision of their authentic selves. Whew, what a bio. I love that.
Thanks, Rebecca.
You're welcome. You're welcome. As you know, it's called the Day Job to Dream Job Summit. So, I'd love to hear a little bit about your day job to dream job story. What was that sort of entrepreneurial journey like for you, and how did you get to be this like golden beacon of wisdom that you are today?
I love that. My day job to dream job was actually more like night job to dream job.
Love it. Okay.
Um, I dabbled in corporate America, but
Hmm.
like mostly was working in restaurants my whole adult life.
Got it. Cool.
So I really shifted from, you know, driving into work at 6 p.m. to wait tables all night and get home at 2 a.m. to having my own schedule.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, it was interesting. It was a really, um, it was hard to shift from being like from working for someone for so long and being sort of like,
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know if you've ever waited tables, but you kind of have this like,
I have. Yeah.
yeah, it's like this, I
Don't
hate
wear
to say it,
heels.
but
That was my big takeaway.
yeah, you're just kind of like slaving away and like busting ass
Hmm.
and grinding, right? And just like super
Totally.
salad, super salad, super salad. And it's like, how many more times can I ask that question, you know? Um, and so I think like when I finally did switch to being an entrepreneur, it was like there was like this whole big wide open space ahead of me of like, oh, I get to decide now. Like I get to do
Mhm.
this my way. And it was really like intimidating for me at first.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I was working in the restaurant business. I worked in a couple of wineries too. I did makeup art
Cool.
here and there.
Yeah, I remember
And and
that.
I did my coach training and
Mhm.
like stayed, I was working my restaurant job for a while when I was in my training. Um, and then I was living in Santa Cruz. We moved to Austin,
Okay.
like I can't remember how far into my training I was, but I just decided to just go for it. I just decided I'm not going to get a job here. I'm just going to launch right into coaching,
Mhm.
which didn't work out as well as I had planned it to. So ended up going back and getting another job and worked that job for 6 months, and then I like couldn't continue to work it because I was just building my business so fast.
Yeah.
So,
Cool. Cool. And what would you say your biggest like struggle was during that transition time?
oof. My biggest struggle was probably like the confidence that I didn't have yet that I needed to have in order to really take ownership of myself as a businesswoman, right? And like
Mhm.
I don't know, being an entrepreneur, especially in the beginning, is terrifying. You're putting yourself out there, and
Yeah.
I wasn't fully prepared for that, I guess. I was prepared to coach, but I
Mhm.
wasn't prepared to sell my services, market myself.
Mhm.
Um, so that was a really big challenge. I think another big challenge was I tried to just throw myself in there and just do it with like no financial backing.
Mhm.
Um, which I thought at the time was me like taking a quantum leap, but
Mhm.
it ended up making me building my business just about making money for a little bit. And I kind of lost sight of like my true purpose in it because I was so focused on like shoveling myself out of this financial hole, you know?
Mhm. Mhm. So,
So,
okay, a lot of the people who are watching this are, new coaches or people who are just they've got that glimmer of an idea of like I could really maybe do this. Like what would you say to that woman who maybe right now it feels like it's all about the money, or it feels like a struggle, or like what would you say to her, like knowing what you know now?
I would say take a really big deep breath
Ooh, yes.
because I think sometimes we get so in it,
Mm-hmm,
and not just like in
mm-hmm.
the beginning throughout our journeys. Like we'll be
Yeah.
in a launch, or we'll be like having something happen with a client, and we just get so like in it that we forget to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
So taking a deep breath, and also just knowing that this is just part of what being an entrepreneur looks like. It's totally normal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know that many people that like just started a coaching business and had it work out perfectly and
Smooth
like made money right
sailing.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely took me a
Um,
while, for
yeah,
sure.
so I think it's normal. But I really encourage people. I think there's sort of this stigma that, you start your coaching business, and if you ever have to like take a side job or like, work at a restaurant for a couple days a week or something just to support yourself, there
Mm-hmm.
seems to be this stigma that's you like kind of with your tail between your legs, like
Mm.
you're not doing
Yes.
good enough as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I really want to break that up because I don't think that that's actually true. I think
Yeah.
um, taking a side job to support yourself financially is an act of self-love, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's so wise. I so
yeah, so I
agree.
would tell those women, like, just do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Flip hamburgers, whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever works.
Totally. Oh my God, I love that. So one of the themes of the summit is women inspiring other women, and kind of this idea that if she can do it, I can too, rather than the flip side of seeing people, being super successful and feeling like, oh, I could never do that, or coming from a scarcity place and saying like, oh, well, there's only so much to go around, and if she's already, if I want to be a life or a health coach and I see somebody else who's a health coach, like I could never do that. So like I'm curious, like, because you're such a supporter of women and you're so well connected, and like, has there been anyone or a couple of people that come to mind as people who have really like just been that person for you that if she can do it, I can too? Yeah, I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah. There's been a couple, but not directly related to like this, to like building a coaching business
Oh,
per
interesting.
se.
Okay.
Um, Gabrielle Bernstein like totally changed my life,
Mm.
right? I talk about that all the time. Like it was 2 weeks of my life that were really important weeks in my life that I just happened to pick up her book, her Spirit Junkie
Just
book, and read it.
happened. Don't you love how the universe
Yeah,
works?
just happened. Um, and it was that, like, that's the pivotal point. That's always what I tell people. They're like, when did you decide to become a coach? I'm like, well, I didn't decide until like the end of 2012, but it was like this moment when I picked
Mm-hmm.
up this book.
Yeah, totally.
And what I got from Gabby was just that like you can be, you can have whatever you want. You just have to like face your darkness, right? She had to face a lot in order to become the person she is today. So
Yeah.
that really inspired me to like face my demons and really take a cold hard look at like what was going on in my life that wasn't in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then a recent one that I just read that book, Girl Boss, hashtag Girl
Oh my
Boss by
God, I love
Sophia.
Sophia Amoruso.
Yeah,
She's such a
yeah.
bad bitch, as she says.
She's so cool. Well, I was
Yeah.
just like I was reading that book, and we don't have the same set of values and philosophies really, but just reading her book and reading her journey from creating her company, that was really inspiring. And I was like, wow, okay, like that actually just makes me want to. I don't want to say work harder, but like
Mhm.
go even further and just master excellence even more.
I love that.
And then I would say, I know this is like kind of cliche to like name my own coach, but I would say Amanda Loveland for sure
Yeah,
has been
cool.
a huge influence on me
I
as
love
well.
that. What do you think's the biggest thing you took away from working with Amanda?
Um, gosh, the biggest, I think working with Amanda, really the biggest takeaway besides like the financial breakthroughs I've had is that she really has, I don't want to say taught me, but she's really supported me in um really stepping into my power and like
Mm-hmm.
owning my possibility and really being at cause for my own transformation.
Mm,
She
cool.
she doesn't handhold me. She
Mm-hmm.
lets me like figure some stuff out on my own, which is good. It's kind of like when you push the kid off on the bicycle and they're like forced to try to pedal on their own. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like
So,
that's how you coach? Is that sort of has that influenced your style as a coach, or do you? Yeah,
I
I'm
think so.
curious.
I mean, I think I was kind of like that before. I feel sometimes I'm a little bit harsh as a coach, a little bit high
Mm-hmm.
gradient,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's more impactful to have someone give them the tools that they need, but then have them sort of figure it out on their own and let
Mm-hmm.
them fall down,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then
Mm-hmm.
they can build confidence by picking themselves up and being like, okay, I got this. Everything's okay, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh
So,
my God, I love that. I think that's such a like, I don't know, important reminder. One other question I wanted to ask you: what, like, in your opinion, is the best part of being an entrepreneur? Like, what's your favorite thing?
what is my favorite thing? Besides like working on the couch in your pajamas whenever you want
Now, are
to.
those your pajamas? Because you look pretty cute right now.
I'm
Not
not in
gonna lie.
pajamas.
Okay, I was like,
Thank you.
if those are your pajamas, then I just need to like crawl in a hole and like nod you.
I sleep like this. Um, no, I totally glammed up for our time
Okay.
together.
Okay. Cool. I did the best
Um,
I could. I'm traveling, so you know it's a little
gotcha.
shaky sometimes, but.
Yeah, I think, I mean, besides the obvious like time and money freedom, I
Mhm.
mean, that's the obvious cake, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think it's really cool to be working towards something, you know, because for me, it's not just about the work I do with my one-on-one clients. Like, I want to have an impact on not just my clients, but on the world. Like, I actually want to
Mm-hmm.
have an active part in changing things, you know? And so I think going to bed every night being like, today I made a difference. Today I made a difference.
Mm.
Today I made a difference. Like, every single night,
Yeah.
you know, is that makes me feel like okay, I've done it.
Today I
I've
made a
achieved.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah, and just,
Yeah.
you know, not going to bed being like, how many freaking bolognese dishes did I serve tonight? You know, which it was like used to be. Tonight, it's like I changed someone's life today. One of my clients got hired today. Somebody had a huge breakthrough today. It feels awesome to help and to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So,
So it sounds like just like that tangible impact that you get to have is really like what lights you up most. That's so awesome. So
yeah,
cool.
and like having inspiration be something that you're engaged with every single minute of every single day is like
It's a lot.
it's awesome. It's like, yeah, it can be sometimes you're like, okay, I just want to like swear and be normal and like, you know, do whatever. But um, it keeps my life just in this like really high vibration. So it's like self-care and a job mixed into one.
Yeah, it's like a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cool, so cool. So I know community is like a really big value of yours, and you have just this like really nurturing, amazing Facebook group. Can you tell us a little bit more about that,
Yes.
perhaps?
It's called The Wildly Wealthy Woman.
Ooh.
Woo! And it's a group for all women who are interested in wealth. Like
Mhm.
I work mostly with on I work only with entrepreneurs, mostly coaches.
Mhm.
Um, But this group is really for any woman who wants to come into a better relationship with money. Maybe she has fears around money. Maybe she feels like she's struggling, but
Mhm.
she knows that it's something she really wants to become empowered around, and she knows that she needs help doing it.
Mhm.
So I hold like a pretty sacred space of like no lack talk, no scarcity talk, no ripping down anyone for their desires, no
Yeah.
shaming, none of that.
Oh, I love
Um,
that. Where
yeah,
can, and
so
we'll link to that in the show notes, guys. If you're listening to this and you're like, where can I, like, I want to be around these wildly wealthy women. Like, where do I sign up? We'll link to that. One question that just came to mind, and I
yeah.
feel like you'd be the perfect person to ask. What is wealth? Like, how do you define wealth?
So wealth is an inside job for me.
Ooh, okay.
I noticed this is funny, and I'll just share this real quick. I noticed that I
Yeah.
know you and I have talked about this offline,
Mm-hmm.
but I noticed last year I went from making $1,500 a month. I had this $30,000 month in July,
Mm-hmm.
and you would think that you would have a win like that, and you'd be like, oh my God, like freaking out.
Yeah.
I was bawling my eyes out the whole month. I was so
I
sad.
remember. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so weird, and I was like, oh, this
Mm-hmm.
is so interesting. It's actually not about the money. It never is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what that experience really showed me was that it's not about the number in your bank account, it's about how you feel in your life. So yeah, money's an access point, but for me, being wealthy is all about really like taking ownership and really seeing what you have, um, and feeling immense gratitude for that and knowing that you have the control. I don't want to say the control. You have the power to create what you want to create. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's what being wealthy means to me is that you understand your creative ability and your creative power to have and be and do whatever you want.
I love
So,
that. What a beautiful definition.
yeah.
So cool, Kelly. So any last like juicy tidbits or pieces of advice or just like insights that you want to share with the women who are watching before we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, so everyone listening to this most likely is like in their day job transitioning to their
Mhm.
dream job, right?
Mhm.
So, I was thinking about this when I was getting ready for the call, and I think like, when I was transitioning, I was coaching a couple clients on the side, but I was working at my day job.
Mhm.
And I remembered like dreading going into work, like being like, why am I
Yes.
here? You know? And
Yeah.
I think my advice would be to have as much fun as you can in your day job, like
Mm.
knowing that it's almost over and getting really excited about that
Mm.
rather than feeling like you're being held back, like
Mhm.
getting
Mhm.
really excited that this is your last step on the ladder before you can blast off into
Oh,
entrepreneurial land.
I love
Um,
that. I love that.
yeah.
Well, my love, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing all of your wisdom.
Yay!
Your website is kellyatwood.com. Is that where people can
Yes.
find out more? Okay, cool. And we'll
Yes.
also link to that. Um,
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing all of your inspiration. I love you.
I love you. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome.